fauna. We must protect the flora. We must sail for rockets for a better tomorrow. Hey! Rise up, Bahamas, let your voices blaze. Stand up, Bahamas, come on, let's save the base. God gave us this land, and this land we must save. Stand up, Bahamas, come on, let's save the base. Woo! Yes! Come on, let's go! Rise up, Bahamas! Rise up, Bahamas! Come on!
When we can see God reflected in all that exists, our hearts are moved to praise the Lord, all his creatures, and to worship him in union. Serve radiant with great splendor, and bears a likeness of you, Most High. Praised be you, my Lord, through sister moons and the stars. In heaven you formed them clear and special and beautiful. Praised be you, my Lord, through brother wind, and through the air, cloudy and serene.
Yeah, that's it for me. How you doing?
Thank you, Javan. It's fun. It's been great to be back. We've talked a little bit about our program before, and it's always really fun to have a student along to talk about, what you're talking about, the partnerships that really sustain our program. I mean, we do so much with partners, especially here in Grand Bahama, and involving our kids in all kinds of wacky schemes where they're getting out in the environment and learning from, professionals who ultimately will probably employ them. So it's just fantastic to be here and to have Alejandro to share his experiences as well.
Yeah, we're pretty happy to always see how you partner and pour into your kids at the University of the Bahamas. Like, we might not tell you it all the time, but I'm happy to see teachers pouring and passionate about teaching our students about the environment, especially the marine environment. I didn't really tell you all the topic yet. So the topic is new opportunities in marine science at the University of the Bahamas. New opportunities in marine science at the University of the Bahamas. And we have a lot of exciting news to talk about at the University of the Bahamas, right, Uncle Joe?
Yeah. And in fact, I want to put out the first question there. And because it is one very close to my heart and my body and what I've done from a small child growing up on Long Island, where we had the cleanest, most beautiful, most productive waters, ocean waters, etc. And the water too, and land and water, because we had to drill our own well, dig our wells, and drink the water from there. So there was no contamination back then, some 80 plus years ago. So when I hear something about dealing with the ocean, I get exceedingly happy, because I reverence it so much. And the fact, like I said in the introduction, we have something like 90,000 square miles of ocean that are our ocean, signature BE, our national territory. But we have only 6,200 square miles of land. And the land is disappearing every year, a number of feet. We have been measuring it from Water Keeps Bahamas and Save the Bays. We have been monitoring it now for the last 10 years. And over the 10 years, we've lost more than 10 to 12, even 15 feet of land. And so what is so significant about marine, about the ocean, about the sound of the sea that fascinates you and bring you to the radio show to talk about it?
Well, I mean, I guess there's kind of two parts to that. What brings me to the ocean is that I just love the critters. I mean, I've been somebody who's been excited about fishes and sharks and just everything that swims or crawls in the ocean since I was a little kid, really. I can remember being into dinosaurs first, and then I transitioned to marine organisms like 5 years old or whatever. So that's what brings me the sort of enthusiasm. But what why I want to share it and why it feels incredibly important is, as you say, like the Bahamas has a huge amount of ocean and a very tiny amount of land. So the ocean really ties in, it's such a critical part of the economy. It is a really critical part of the culture. I mean, so much of the food Bahamians eat, I mean, notwithstanding the delightful corned beef you can get for breakfast or whatever, it's all, conch and snapper and grouper and, all of these amazing foods that are basically like the cultural foundation, the food cultural foundation. And, all that is at risk if we don't protect the oceans of the Bahamas. And the reality is that the ocean, to most Bahamians, the ocean is a mystery. It's a desert where all the life is underground. So Bahamians go to the beach. A lot of them don't even go in the water, which is strange to me. But, they certainly aren't excited about getting in the water and experiencing the critters and seeing, whatever crawls or swims or whatever. I mean, I'm overjoyed when I see sharks, but I say I love seeing sharks. And everybody in my scuba class is like, why would you want to see sharks? If I see sharks, I'm going to be the first one back in the boat. And it's like, well, no, you'll be fine because we've put lots of students through that program. And they sort of learn to understand and accept the ocean for what it is. But you can't really protect what you don't know. And, that it's a mystery to so many of the people here. I mean, there are obviously people who engage with the ocean professionally and as their hobby and all this. Loads of people own boats, but the majority don't. And we want to, train that next generation of professionals, but also expose as many young Bahamians as we can to this amazing environment. And that's, I bring my example student along because he's one of those who's really, from his waterkeeper's days, he's taken advantage of those opportunities. And I mean, he is, I don't know, 2/3 fish by this point.
Well, let me throw a question at Alejandro because, he was one of the most enthusiastic, intelligent minds in the whole program. From both programs you did, right?
Yes, sir.
Youth Environment Ambassadors and then the cadets.
Yes, sir.
And in the cadets, they had a lot of stuff to do scientifically in terms of anything that was impacted by the ocean. So, Alessandro, tell us a little bit about your experience in those programs and how it motivated you to continue in the area of science.
That's a good question. Well, first of all, good afternoon, Bamalan. Thank you, wonderful, beautiful people, for inviting me here on this show this afternoon. But,
she's over there, beautiful. Yeah.
But to answer that question, I definitely would say that Save the Bays. And well, first of all, I feel like a lot of people who aspire to marine biology, personally, I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was younger. So that has nothing to do with the water whatsoever. And as I grew older, I realized that I really love animals, more so marine animals to be specific. My favorite animal is a pet turtle, for those who didn't ask. But I always loved the water. I always realized that I love going to the beach, seeing the seaweed and the animals, the fish, the sharks, like you say, for when you say you're scuba diving and you love to see sharks in the water, people look at you like you're insane. Like, it's like, is your head good? And it's like, but specifically for Save the Bays and Waterkeepers, it definitely helped me grow in more of a mature mindset in terms of teaching me about conservation and knowledge about the ocean and why it's crucial, especially as a country that's, an archipelago. Like, most of our life is based on the ocean and the resources we get from a fisherman seeking to, fish for parrotfish, grouper, snapper, etc., to, a scientist or those who just interested on, the water whatsoever. Most of our daily life basically feeds off of the ocean. And being in Save the Bays and Waterkeepers really, helped me to speak, because even in moments like this is like public speaking on a camera. What is this? This is interesting.
And you were a pro when you left.
Yes, definitely, because we had to present in front of various different strangers and our parents that gave us glances like, you're scuba diving with sharks. This is weird. So. But I'm very thankful for the programs and the experience, because it really taught me the importance of marine fauna and flora, the importance of the ocean, why we as Baymen should really look into conservation and educate ourselves in the public. So I'm very thankful.
Now, one thing where you had to, back in those days too, you had to do the scuba diving, right?
Yes, sir.
So what depth did you go down to?
The deepest.
The deepest.
I believe my deepest dive was 90 feet.
90 feet.
Yes, sir.
Describe that a little bit, because I had my experience there, and I'm afraid to tell it because someone might want to go down there who don't want to come back to the surface. Okay.
Well, like I said, I love the water, so I wasn't really scared. I guess I was more so interested to see, what the ocean has in store for me. Because for those who don't know, and like they say, a lot of Bahamians don't know how to swim, which I would encourage you guys to, look into that. But guilty. But honestly, diving into the water is a whole different environment, a whole different experience. You see sharks, turtles, eagle rays, for those who don't know what that is, focus on parrotfish, grouper. Like, you see all these different vibrant colors of animals that just is so captivating, and it's a whole different world than living on land. So, diving in the water, you're like, oh, first of all, gee, this is cold. And then, you just, it's like it was like all my worries and, all the stresses of assignments or work, whatever bills you may have to pay just instantly fade away, because now you're in awe of the beauty in the water. And it's like diving deeper and deeper. You honestly obviously keeping in mind that you're on an oxygen tank and you have a certain capacity.
Let me tell you something like that.
You're right. But it's like, I instantly just got lost in the beauty and the world of underwater. And then I realized that I left my diving partner to go chase a turtle. And she was...
sound just like somebody.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Listen, it's amazing, because when I did that 90-foot dive, with the cadets, the water cadets, and I got completely lost between the sharks going overhead and shark going underneath me, in among those old cathedral-like rocks, that used to be the coast of Grand Bahama, South Grand Bahama. And then I am just going and going and going, and all of a sudden I felt this yap at my fin. And I said, oh, my God, one of the sharks think I'm something to eat. So I turned around like that. It was my instructor, and beckoning me, very angry looking, like, look at this, pointing out her monitor, their monitor. Look at that. You got 3 minutes to get to the top. But if she hadn't come, I probably would have been gone, because it is so serene and so beautiful. It's just mesmerizing. Yeah. And that's the beauty of God's creation. And that's whether you're on the land, to the air, and the beauty of it and the cleanliness of it, unpolluted by what we do to it, and the ocean. So let me get back to all the science and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm just enthusiastic.
I gotta throw my 2 cents in there, because Alejandro and his crew at the time did it, and I didn't get certified yet. I was like, I can't let these little churns. So I went and I did it. And we went to the class, and I was like so nervous, but looking at them all calm, I was like, I can't show them that I scared. You know what I mean? So I had to man up, and seeing all of the kids who, his crew, they had dives under their belt. Like, how much dives you have under your belt? Oh, 45, 50. And I was like, So, but when it came time for me to jump overboard, I, low key was trembling. But then I see them, they sploosh, sploosh, everybody just sploosh, sploosh, sploosh. And I was like, no, I ain't gonna let them make fun of me. So that's how I got off that boat. And I'm glad I did, because like both of you said, all three of you said, that's a whole new world under that water. It's scary thinking about it, but once you do it, you realize it ain't that scary. You just have to do it. All of the animals that you're taught to be afraid of ain't checking for you.
They go around you.
My thing was when they said we going to Shark Junction, I low-key wanted to tell my family, I might not come back. but when we did it, and I'm seeing the sharks, like, oh my God, like humans. Like,
they're like underwater cats, honestly.
And you have to experience it in order to know it, because fear will stop you from doing things in your own country that everyone else get to enjoy. One quick story. I remember stopping to the gas station about to get some fuel, and around that time there was a young lady who got mauled by sharks in Nassau when she jumped into the water it was a whole situation. It was all over the news. And then some of the people in there, they were saying, like, do you believe like there's behemoths that actually go in the water to swim with sharks, or talking about they scuba diving?
Just
What
like
kind of
guilty.
foolishness that is? And I standing up there like, I just get certified. And I'm like, it ain't that serious. Like, no, it ain't like that. Like, y'all making it sound like it's so scary, and it's stopping people who would be interested in exploring under the water from doing it, because you're telling people to be afraid of it. And that's why I'm so happy that a lot of our programs encourage, and UB is encouraging students to just go out there and explore the environment. Because they find something new. Like, it's just a whole new world. And that's why circling back to UB, that's why I'm so happy that they now have this marine science program at UB. Like, that's why I'm so happy, because now anybody wanting to study anything marine, you don't have to come out of the prime location to do it. Like, imagine going Midland, USA to study marine biology or marine science in our waters. So that's kind of where I wanted to take that, because we have so many students who want to maybe or thinking about getting into marine science, and then they leave the country with the best place to do it. And I'm happy that the program is up and running. So maybe you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for, really. That we have that exact same excitement, because we all have a good friend who works for one of the local NGOs and got a great education in marine science in maritime Canada. And like, it's totally different. It's different fish, it's different water, it's different productivity. So it's like, clearly a lot of it is still going to apply to the Bahamas, but if you study in the Bahamas, all of it applies. These are the critters you get to know, and the ecology of the area is the ecology you get to know, because there's a kind of productivity outside the tropics that just doesn't exist here. And you don't have to worry about coral reefs in Nova Scotia, because they don't have any. So that we're worried about coral bleaching because of temperature, or issues with acidification, or all these kinds of things. Like, they probably talk about them if you're somewhere else, but we talk about them with a huge amount of focus here. And then we introduce you to partners who's, like, we talk to PIMS, and we have students, going out with them diving, because they're doing this sort of coral restoration, or they're doing coral assessments to track, stony coral tissue loss disease, or bleaching, or problems with acidification. So you're actually, you learn it at UB, and then we have partners where we get you in the water, and you actually get to, do the thing in your own country and your own system, which you ideally should understand. I mean, the fear I always have is, I read an article, and I use the headline when I present on our program. The headline is, "The Bahamas' greatest export is Bahamians." And, that's an issue, because the people who move often are moving for educational opportunities. So they're, the ones who are most qualified to help, we send off somewhere else. And they go somewhere else. And I know what it was like in college. I met a girl in college. You meet somebody, you get an internship, and that internship leads to a job opportunity. And, I've said this before, but like, then suddenly you're in a situation where you come home for Junkanoo. You hug you get your Christmas presents, you hug your Grammy, and then you go back to your life.
I just love how Bahamian.
I've been here long enough. And then you're back in maritime Canada, or Georgia, or Kansas, or California, or wherever it is, living your life and doing your thing. And the Bahamas doesn't get to benefit from your education, from your skills, from, the uplift that we could get from, having more educated people in the community. Ultimately, people have to live their lives and have to do what's best for them. And I respect that sort of individualism there, but it would be much better if they stuck around.
Yeah.
And they could, go to work for an NGO, or come to work for UB, or go to work for Department of Environmental Planning and Protection, or DMR, or, any of these, like, all of these places that are understaffed have a hard time finding qualified people, and therefore, they struggle under the burden of work that they're required to do. It would just lift all of us if we, could keep the good people around, like keep those educated Bahamians in the Bahamas instead of, Kansas, I'm sure, is a great place. I have no idea.
Matt, I'm really happy you hit on that particular point, because right at the present time, I'm aware of a couple of circumstances whereby individuals who used to go to the United States to continue their education, they can't any longer. The restrictions and all of these other requirements, they do not have. And so if these people are interested in the science in the matters of the Bahamas, for example, what would you do? Like, for example, the people in your program now, Bahamians, if they're interested in marine science, what sort of qualifications or experience or anything of that nature do they come in with? And what do we have to put out there as a signal to draw people, if they cannot go into the United States or foreign countries to get these degrees? What is there to attract them into the University of the Bahamas?
Well, what they need to come in, the University of the Bahamas is very flexible in terms of its entry requirements. To get into the marine science program, they ideally have background in biology and chemistry and physics. So BGCSEs in those fields to a certain standard, I think, C grade, 700 kind of level. But they can come in missing some of those requirements, and they can basically make them up at the university. We have kind of courses that would cover those kind of introductory levels. So, if people are interested in these sorts of fields, our marine science program is science intensive. It requires math and physics and chemistry and biology, because we want, to be putting well qualified people out into these agencies and NGOs. And so having that background certainly helps, but isn't necessarily a requirement. And if people are coming back, we do have some what we call non-traditional students who have returned after beginning their career and deciding they need to change or want to change. We can fill in those missing bits and pieces, and people can join. So that's kind of step one. And then, once they're in the program, we give them a solid science foundation, and a lot of our courses. And I should say, the marine science program exists on both UB campuses. So, we have great faculty here at UB North, and we have great faculty at Oaks Field, and students can go to either campus and graduate, basically. We're, really proud of kind of the way our program exists in that way, because we want to be able to serve, all the various family islands. And we'd really like, Grand Bahama can kind of be the family islands campus. We don't have housing yet, unfortunately, but that's kind of I think that's something that they're looking into, because they're really interested. We used to have housing pre-Dorian, up until Dorian hit, and then the housing was unfortunately destroyed. So we really want to be able to bring students in from the family islands as well. But, there is, the Bahamian government provides a ton of support as well for Bahamians. And I think that's a really important thing to mention. College, nowhere is college free, as far as I know, because, even places where it used to be free, they now have fees and things. But here, tuition is mostly or entirely covered by the tertiary grant. The Bahamian government generously covers Bahamians getting their education. That's limited to 5 years, so you got to, get things done. But, for 5 years, and I think there's an age limit too, to be honest, but, you can get most of your educational costs covered. There are fees and things that students have to pay, but so that is a huge advantage. If you can get a scholarship somewhere else, maybe you can see similar advantages, but, you can come to UB, and if you need the money, we'll help you out. So that also lowers the kind of barriers to getting an education. If people are motivated and they want to come, then we want them to, and the government will help them to.
Okay,
get through it.
one particular question. the prospect of having housing for students, particularly from the other islands, is that in the making? Or isn't that kind of fundamentally a requirement that should be provided for students from the other islands who may not be able to find housing or friends in Nassau to stay with a family, but they may have it in Grand Bahama? So what is the possibility kind of near that will come about?
I mean,
we had it
yeah,
in the old campus.
yeah. I don't know the details.
Well, I know you probably know the details, but
it is definitely.
Would you be one who's pressing for that possibility?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm super interested in that because it is. I mean, the Bahamas is an archipelago, as Alejandro pointed out. It's not like you can, like, a lot of Bahamians clearly live in Nassau, and a lot of Bahamians clearly live in Grand Bahama, but there are a lot of other islands where other people are deserving of opportunities. And it's tough if you're from Bimini or from Cat Island or whatever. Like, there's not a university campus there. And we offer some of our classes online, but you can't complete your degree from some other island. You have to come to a campus. And so because of that reality, I'm highly motivated that we should be able to house students as well. And the university recognizes that also. We're going, there's a lot of things that are kind of in transition. You guys are probably aware that we're going through an accreditation process. We have new leadership, both here in Grand Bahama. We have a new campus president, or she's a vice president. We've also got a new president of the university. I mean, both of them are energetic and positive, and really, like, I think they're good people and good leaders. So there's a lot of motivation to kind of get things in that direction. We're also, because of course we are teaching classes on a construction site. Like, our campus, is half done.
That's
and it's
been taking too long to talk about. I cry shame on who's ever responsible for that.
Process.
Come on now. I mean, how long would it take you to put up a beautiful little building to accommodate our wonderful staff and students? Before this goes out of my head, with my age at almost 84, I tend to forget things. But I am concerned about the availability of science teachers in the Bahamas. From ages ago, when I started out at Queens College in Nassau, we had to get science teachers from abroad, from the United States, or from a lot of them from the Caribbean. So is there a program at the university, whether in New Providence or here, where you have a focus on science, but also in teaching science? Becoming a teacher, in other words.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with the education program, even though our dean of faculty, she'll be upset if she hears this, that she's
well, we could have that person on sometime.
She's over education. But I mean, there are programs to educate science teachers. Absolutely. UB has a great education program, and we do turn out lots of young people who are interested in being teachers. I think there are always challenges with sort of STEM fields that people are intimidated by them, or they don't necessarily feel like they have the interest or the qualifications. So that's probably a policy discussion more than my low pay grade. But it's the Bahamian government.
Well, no, it's not just a policy, it's a dying need. So the policy should be adjusted to accommodate the needs.
Well, right. People should
be, way back when I was everything at Queens College, senior school coordinator, teacher of French and English, and guidance counselor, all of those things, they had to be compacted in one person. And then for our science, we had to bring in people from about 7 different Caribbean islands. So my particular question now, are we in the stead? Because right now we're talking about some of the teachers that are lacking in the opening of the school right now. And if I'm not right or wrong, I bet a lot of them would be science, because we don't produce enough science teachers in our territory in the Bahamas.
Right.
We have to bring them from all over the kingdom.
Well, there are ways that people can be encouraged to take up those fields. And I think it's always a question of priorities and funding and all these sorts of things. If you pay science teachers twice as much, I bet you get a lot more science teachers, but then you run into issues of fairness and all these kinds of things. The education at UB is covered by the tertiary grant, whether you do science or otherwise. So you can't encourage people that way. So if you can think creatively, I think there are ways of nudging that kind of situation forward. One of the students that I've worked, she's graduated biology. She didn't graduate marine science, but a student that I worked with quite a bit during her time at UB. She just took a job as a teacher at a private school with a biology degree from UB. So, there's also ways that we could potentially encourage, graduates or students who are, just finishing up marine science or just finishing up a biology degree to also do an education certificate. Those are ways that you could potentially, the way you encourage them is obviously partly communication, but partly reward. And it's that reward piece that I think may be a little bit unclear or uncertain. And you want to make sure that it's fair because, people who study to become an English teacher study plenty hard too. So you want to make sure that it's equitable, and you're just sort of trying to nudge people in a good direction. If there's a gap or a need, you got to figure out how to do it. And hiring Bayesians might be fine, I guess, but it'd be better if they were Bahamian.
Amen. Well, let me get to a kind of personal aspect with you. We've known you for a long time. I mean, not long time, but a long time. And what I observe of you is this intimate connectivity that you have for everything restorative in the Bahamas, on Grand Bahama, whether it's to do with coral reefs, whether it's to do with conch, or whether it's to do with the mangroves. What is it that drew you so forcefully and kind of enthusiastically into this type of external work with environmental groups on Grand Bahama?
I mean, firstly, that I think it feels like the scale of the problem is big, but not impossibly big. So I think it feels like you can make a hands-on difference because there are, globally there are issues like climate change that are sort of out of reach. I still drive. I have a fuel efficient little car, but I still drive to work every day. But, the mangrove restoration, as an example, there's lots of great people on Grand Bahama who are involved in that. And you can get a group of 50 people or 60 people out there and, people like Daniel Murray, contribute their time and their resources. I've ridden on Daniel's boat enough times that I can pretty much describe it from memory. Right.
Yeah.
So it's that there's a great tight-knit community that's very supportive of these issues, and the issues are of a scale that human beings, if you get a few of them together, you can make a difference. So like last weekend we were out picking up trash for the International Coastal Cleanup, and we brought the UB bus and we loaded up 20 or 25 kids and gathered 330 pounds of trash or whatever it was. We would have had more, but one of the pieces of trash was fishing net that was all full of sand. I couldn't even move the thing. But it was
sand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like you can make a difference with a busload of folks, and those are the scales of problems that it's easy to want to engage with. And I find working with, I sit at a computer all day. That my job is fundamentally to sit at a computer. A good part of the time I'm just talking to the computer because, I teach classes that are remote. So it's being able to get out and do things with my hands is really satisfying as well. I mean, planting mangroves is really fun, and you get muddy and, you get in the mud up to your elbows.
Yeah, very dirty.
So I find that kind of stuff incredibly satisfying as well.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned, and I want to come to Javan on this particular point. A couple of months ago, we did a cleanup here in Grand Bahama on where Montecute, actually Nassau. What's the one out we do? Xanadu Beach.
Months ago, that was last Saturday, you mean?
No, the one before that.
Oh, okay.
A couple of months ago.
Gotcha.
And it was literally thousands of pounds of garbage we picked up. We go out there last week Saturday from 7 in the morning till 10. Javan, say what we found, please. And let's see if we could scold any of these people listening.
Well, I don't have the total pounds that we collected, but we did take a very telling picture of the mountain of trash that was piled up by the garbage bin. So luckily we had the Governor General Youth Awards, like the GGYA people come, and it was at least 40, 50 of them.
Yeah.
And that's how come we were able to collect so much trash. We also had a lot of groups like the Rotaract group and Key Club and St. George's come through, and they helped to collect as well. But I saw tires, I saw
Kentucky box.
Of course, we saw fast food boxes. The day after the cleanup, I went to the beach just to get in the water, and I saw litter. Like people came between Saturday and Sunday, and I saw pampas on the beach. Like someone changed their child and then threw the pampas in the sand, and chip bags and soda can bottles bobbing in the water.
And that's the day after.
And that's the day after. And it made me upset because I know the work that a lot of people put into coming and cleaning up these places, a lot of the work that we do as facilitators, as mentors, as teachers, to teach the generation coming up the importance of our waters. Like not just to learn about and to identify the little critters, as Dr. Mattias says, but to keep it clean so that everybody else can enjoy it while we enjoy it, you know. And I have to say this, like, you know, we clean up for tourists, but we have to clean up for ourselves first. Like it has to be some type of pride where you pick up after yourself. This place is paradise to so many people, except for sometimes the people who live here. And it's sad to say it, but a lot of times when those same areas that we clean up religiously get sold and we're banned from those spaces, then it's a problem. But when it's free, you don't want to keep it, you know. And so then people get that attitude, well, you don't want to take it, and you can't come to it, you know.
Javan, I don't know whether or not we'll get permission to have them, but I'm sure we should have representatives from police force on our program, because that is the matters of serious environmental protection, and we're losing it. If people could do such a thing right after we picked up thousands of pounds of garbage from that area, and then that was only that area. The other groups are all over the rest of Grand Bahama as well.
And they also collected hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, we're online. All of that information has been posted any place where they could see.
Well, yeah.
Well, how nasty we have become as a people. Now, listen, I'm not going to hold back on this. You know, it is nasty to dump all that stuff out on the belly and the bosom of Mother Earth. And I've even seen people do it in front of a police car, and the police just ride past it and do nothing about it. We got to begin to have penalties. And the beaches are abominable, what happens on them. And I don't know what's going to happen when that beach becomes a private beach, because that area has already been sold for development.
Yeah.
And so where are they going to go? In another little beach and to dump all the garbage again? Come on, my people.
And that's just the coastline we're talking about. We ain't even going to go to the roads yet, because the roads are a different story.
Oh my God.
But so just piggybacking off what we were saying earlier, like education, inspiring our younger ones to get into environmental careers and studying marine science, and us creating this pipeline to the university and all of that stimulates these kids to want to care for nature, you know. And it's nothing against the other professions, but when I was in school, everybody wanted to be a doctor and a lawyer and like at the exclusion of every other career choice. You know, everybody want to be doctors and lawyers. Like I was even at a graduation ceremony this past season when, you know, everybody was graduating, and you looking at these kids who didn't study any sciences, didn't study any of that stuff, but they will be a scientist. Like you didn't take up the class when you was in high school, so now you will do it when you go to high school. So I was just chuckling to myself, because we like to talk it. We like to talk big. We want to be all of this stuff, but we have the education and the system in place that if you're interested in that, you come to us. You come to University of the Bahamas and let them teach you so that you could learn about your environment. But I tell you one thing: those who are in the environmental program, you wouldn't catch them littering.
No,
You
not
wouldn't
them.
get in the marine science
Oh.
program. You wouldn't catch them
Well,
throwing trash
listen.
in the water.
I mean, we study them so carefully from the environmental youth program, YEA, and then into cadet training program. Man, those guys, they'll walk 10 miles, but pick up a piece of garbage before they dispose it any place.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to instill in the minds of our people, that this is the belly and the bosom of Mother Earth.
This is your home.
Yes, your home.
This is your house.
You know, just imagine you pour that upon her. She knows that. She is sensitive to everything. We breathe her on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so when we do something good for her, she rewards us. When we do something bad to her, she just, let them go ahead. They're destroying themselves. So
I'll say this too. But before I say this, I just want to shout out to the people that do the work that do.
Oh, Lord.
I've seen people though. It's not just all bad. I've been to Xanadu Beach and I've seen people pull up in their cars and they pull right up to the trash and they picked up all the trash that was around there and threw it in the garbage. I've seen on 2 separate occasions that happen. And I was like, I'm grateful for that, because I hate to just be talking about the bad stuff, but there are people out there that
in the world.
clean and they want to see their environment clean. And I've seen them doing the work. So shout out to all the people who are doing that. And I also want to tell everyone, like, we're coming to the last half of the show. It's already 4:42, believe it or not. And I want to tell you, if you want to call in and be a part of the show, have something to say, or just, leave your 2 cents, call us in at 602-1033, 602-1033. We have some good people on our show. If you want to hear anything about, ask questions about UB, call in. If Dr. Mattias don't know, he'll say that. He can just say something just to say it. So call in if you want to find out about the programs that are happening, because these are our islands. You heard Mr. Darville say this, over 90,000 square feet? Square miles, sorry, of ocean. Square miles of ocean, and we want you to take, this is yours. So join in, see how you could be a part of it. If you don't study the sciences, see how you could be a part of the programs that we have, or your children are interested in it. Encourage them to join the environmental programs that's out there, and especially lead them to UB, which is our University of the Bahamas, to get an education to serve our community. They're going to be the ones that's teaching in our environmental programs. They're the ones that are going to be teaching science in the tertiary level and, primary school level. They're the ones who are going to be the ones teaching, but we have to nurture them today. So call in 602-1033 and be a part of this conversation.
Well, and I guess I want to say too that, like, my vision is really like the broadest possible tent there could be. So, if people want to get involved, I mean, Waterkeepers is a great organization, but we welcome people to get involved with what we do at UB. If you're curious to learn about marine science, there are ways we can make that happen. We have a continuing education program, CLearn, where, if there's enough interest, we could potentially have, availability. People can learn, they could do the scuba class through the dive shop. They're a partner, they're supportive of locals. They can come and do my sharks class through CLearn. They can do loads of different stuff. And my doors are always open to that kind of thing, because I'm super excited about teaching people and showing people and educating people. That's obviously I'm an educator.
One other thing
I'm an educator out of passion, and it's not for the paycheck, Lord knows.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to mention, and you, by mentioning again the dive and so forth, reminded me of it. The lady and the gentleman who taught us the scuba diving down to the 90 feet, and I almost got lost in space. Every time they go diving, they carry a little clipper. And you know what that's for? They go up to those sharks that have been hooked by hooks, and they got the hook in their mouth and line leading from it. And they could actually go up to some of those sharks, and the sharks know, and they go there, shark stands still, and they can actually cut that hook to take it out of the mouth of the sharks. So the sharks, they don't like human flesh, they bite you once, they don't come back anymore. So they're not looking out for people to bite, they're only by accident. But I ain't tell you jump overboard if you got a whole
Right,
1,000
right.
sharks.
Man,
in there.
Hollywood have you so scared.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That Jaws theme song was playing in my head when I was scuba diving.
I mean, I've jumped off the boat with the top of the boat with sharks in the water. I'm fine. I'm just fine. So I mean, like I've jumped off the top of the dive boat with sharks in the water. So I'm not, trained by trained professionals only.
We
Don't attempt that.
We all
but-
did. There were sharks
Yeah,
all
exactly.
around us. We jumped in.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
I even been
I
down
attempted to bait.
down in Bimini with hammerheads.
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing is, like my interactions with sharks have almost all been with nurse sharks because they're the most forward ones.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I had the nurse shark I met on the shark dive here in Grand Bahama who like snuggled up to my leg because she wanted to get scratches like a cat. And then when we did the hammerhead dive, we did a hammerhead snorkel in Bimini, and like the nurse sharks were so forward. It was like you're basically just shoving them away.
Yeah.
Like they're
jealous.
They
Yeah.
swarmed
jealous.
us.
they, you just because they're too friendly. They're like, get away from my crotch or whatever you're doing here. You just they're not there to harm you. They're just there to see what's going on. Yeah, it was.
Well,
Those are the kind of interactions you have.
that is interesting, but it is true. They're like underwater puppies, and they swarmed everybody. And the students were like, "Oh my gosh, like nurse sharks."
No wonder they're called nurse sharks.
You know what? You know what?
Oh Lord have mercy.
Anyway.
Thank you, Dr. Matt, for that. That's a jam.
But yeah, going back to us talking about nurturing. So I just want to tell the public that's listening, there's a lot of students that's interested in the marine field. A lot of them, sometimes they tell us, oh, I don't know, I didn't hear about it. So if you can, talk it up. We need people who could go into the waters and help us, because it's all connected, right? Like it's all connected. The scientists, they study, they do findings, which is directly related to the people whose livelihood comes from the ocean. So it's all connected. The fishermen can work with the scientists, the conservation, a lot of conservation work that we do is also related to us. Everything related to our food source and the stuff that's happening. So microbes are destroyed. If the coral reefs are destroyed, these are where the fish go and the animals go to reproduce, and these are where they live. So if those are destroyed, then what's going to happen to our food source? So that's a legitimate question, and some people want to say like, oh no, we need development, we need jobs, but I would argue that we need food more than jobs. In that Maslow hierarchy of needs, you don't see jobs first, you see food. So we all the fish that you love to eat, the group or all the snapper, all of them that you all been calling out that you won't find in Canada, we love to eat them. That's a part of our staple foods. Like, are you a Bahamian if you don't like fried snapper? Like, are you a Bahamian if you don't eat like crack conch or conch salad? Like all of this stuff.
Hey man, you're making me salivate. Now think of my group of fingers.
All of this stuff is things that we take for granted. Like, when we talk to other folks on our show and we speak to people from different parts of the world, there's regulations for, when they go fishing. Like sometimes, it's only a certain amount of fish that they can catch, certain amount of pounds. The fish have to be a certain length, a certain weight. Versus here, I see people throwing a day line and they fishing, but we take it for granted that we have. And as we've been preaching from I've started this show with you, like we have to be good stewards of the environment so that not only do we have stuff to eat, but our children have things to eat in the future, and our children's children. We want to be able for you to secure the land so that that's there to be a part of your heritage.
Well, and the reality of the Bahamas is that healthy oceans basically underpin the whole economy. So the reason that people from Wisconsin come down here in January is partly because it's minus 40 there, and obviously it's not minus 40 here, but they come down here for the beautiful water and the healthy reefs and the fish and all of those things. Like if you put a golf course and that golf course is dumping a bunch of fertilizer into the ocean, then you don't have those healthy things.
Mm.
And then you don't have the tourists, and you don't need the golf course.
Yeah.
You don't need the hotel if the hotel ruins the environment.
Yeah.
So, the reason we want to have healthy oceans is partly because obviously I love sharks, but it's mostly because healthy oceans are most of the economy here. The reason that people fill up hotels or come to Airbnbs or come and play golf or whatever it is because the beaches are nice, the water's beautiful, and there's fish to eat. You can try conch, and like you have these like ties that I think a lot of people don't realize. It's not just that the weather's warm, but people come down here, and like the best tourists, like scuba divers are some of the best tourists, and we have some of the best scuba diving in the world. And like they spend loads of money. So you want to encourage that kind of thing as much as you can. Like ecotourists, particularly like scuba divers, who engage in an expensive hobby. Like they're a big part of the story, and like you want to protect that as much as you can, because that's ultimately what like people have those salaries coming in, and they can afford to go to the doctor. And when they have legal problems, they can go to the lawyer, and whatever it is, like all these other jobs that you think that's got nothing to do with the ocean. In the Bahamas, everything's got to do with the ocean.
Everything.
I don't care what job you got.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time now, because this has been so exciting, I want to hear a bit more from him, from hearing all of these eloquent things and stuff that you young people can become. What are you projecting for the future for yourself and for your country?
And if you say lawyer, I'm going to punch you.
Okay. Is doctor an next good suggestion?
No.
Okay. Well, for the future, in terms of, are you talking about 5, 10, 20 years? Like just future overall? I don't know, because, tomorrow is promised to no man. But speaking positively, for the future, obviously hoping that I get my degree in marine science with sustainability next year. Upcoming graduate. Yeah, it's been 3-4 years, like really interesting, which is crazy because you just started at UB 3 years ago. I was a bachelor's biochem major, and honestly in my head I already made up my mind to not be in the best mindset, because I don't want to be a biochem major. I want to be a marine science major. I want to deal with the water. And thankfully, Dr. Johansson came to UB the same time as me, and he was like, we'll work this thing out. So from doing that, we went in all these different programs and initiatives, and it really, like I said, grew my love for marine science. But in terms of for the future, I think, I would like to believe after getting my bachelor's degree, possibly try to obtain my master's, but while working still in the marine sector. Obviously trying to better our country in whichever way I can. I've worked with mangroves, corals, sharks, conch currently. To say which one, because you have a lot of different people who focus specifically in one field, and honestly I have not figured out what's my specific niche. I guess I just love the whole aspect of it. We're still figuring that one out. So I just know obtain a master's, work in the marine field. Particularly specifics, I don't know exactly.
Thank you so much, and we're going to have you back here often.
So I got 2 questions that came in. So we probably want Dr. Mattias to answer that. How beneficial is the marine science program to a place like Atlantis? Followed by, what percentage of your students are female that's enrolled in the current marine science program?
Second question.
I mean, I hope we're very beneficial to Atlantis or things like them. They're an important partner. I mean, one of the things that UB tries to be, and especially the marine science program, is an effective partner for all kinds of kind of marine tied organizations. So one of the things we're doing with Atlantis is we have a coral gene bank. It was almost one of the first schemes I got involved with when I came to UB, was to get involved with their coral gene bank. And we're developing a molecular lab to do genetics work on corals, and we partner with them to kind of plan how corals are going to be collected, and we get involved in the field to some extent. Most of the work they do is in Nassau, so I haven't been involved with it that much. But yeah, they're an important partner. They're one of our more important partners, I would say.
Wow, we didn't know that.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of partners.
Information, yeah.
As far as what percentage of females we have in the marine science program, it is almost all female.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
All
I'm gonna be honest. We want more males.
Yeah, we want more males.
Yes.
Females, see, that's the mother energy.
Yeah.
The feminine energy.
Yeah.
They know what is important. You go, girls. You go.
No, but
I mean, I only almost want to joke with these boys that it's like, you want to meet a pretty girl, you marine science, it's the field to be in.
yeah, like personally speaking,
Because there's loads and
He
loads of them.
speaks from experience.
no. Personally speaking, if you have a class of 20 students and Dr. J is speaking, you look around, you're like, oh, I'm the only guy in this class. Like everybody else is lone. Yeah. Yes, the majority
I took
is
students
females.
down to Bimini the last couple of times. The last time there were 2 boys along and like 12 kids, and the time before that there was 1 and like 15. So yeah, we need more boys for sure.
So y'all heard it here first.
Man, oh, man,
We
young
need
man,
y'all
oh,
on the
man.
field, y'all. We need
Come
y'all on
on.
the field. But we have a few more minutes for the show. So before we leave, I want to say this announcement from the Humane Society. Looking for great deals and a way to help Grand Bahamas animals? Come on down to the Humane Society of Grand Bahamas thrift store, the Second Chance secondhand shop. We are open tomorrow, Saturday, from 11 to 3. Browse houseware, clothing, electronics, and more. And remember, every dollar you spend helps care for the pot cakes and pot cats of Grand Bahama. This week only, ladies and men's jackets are just $5 each. Reuse, recycle, reduce, shop smart, and save lives at the Second Chance second-hand shop, where every purchase gives an animal a second chance.
Okay,
Got a few more minutes, so
Javan,
closing
it just
remarks.
came to me. Could you say something about the lady, the magnificent lady, a former student from among us, who is now at the board today?
So
Greet her,
she's saying don't do it, but I just want
No,
to give
you're
a big
saying
shout out
do
to
it.
you. We're thankful to have you here. I don't want to get you in any problems or trouble, but we're happy to have you here. And when we first started doing the show, I remember doing a few shows with you. And if for those of you who want to see, this is your chance to go on Facebook and look at Global 99.5 FM's feed so that you can see who's hosting us today. So we're happy to be on this platform. Happy to have you with us. Happy to have our guests. And we talked about a lot today, but any closing remarks, fellas?
I mean, just if you want to, learn more, get in touch. I'm you can find my email online. I'm listed as a biology faculty member, but I'm actually marine science. But matthias.johansson@ub.edu.bs is my email. And get in touch. I'm happy to talk about what we do. If you want to just talk about marine critters. I love that kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
definitely
I-
get your kids in my program. They're not all going to be doctors. Let's be real.
Or lawyers.
Come and see like Dr. Matt. Oh my God, so human, right in with us, doing all the things we do, all in the mud, out in the mangroves, etc. I bless you for all the help you give to us in that regard.
My children.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So stay tuned to us. Stay tuned to what we're doing. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram at Save the Bays and at 242 Waterkeepers. Look for us, waterkeepers.org, and you will see all the things that we're doing in the community. You'll see all the partners that we're working with and all of the projects we're doing. So keep it clean and follow us, and stay tuned for our next show, which will be in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Okay. Good evening, Bahama Land.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Oh, you had me laughing.
Those hours go by fast.
Let's do it.
That-
Hey
Strong.
Bahamas, once you've watched this video, I want you to join us and support us in our fight to save our environment and saving the Bahamas. Save the bays.
Clifton Bay, save it. Breakers Bay, save it. Bimini Bay, save it. Let's save the bays. Rise up, Bahamas, and let your voices blaze. Stand up, Bahamas, come on, let's save the bays. God gave us this land, and this land we must save. Stand up, Bahamas, come on, let's save the bays. A coalition's forming to stand up for what's right.